So we have the absolute value of 3x minus 2 minus 1 equal to the absolute value of 5 minus x. So I've gone over a variety of different types of absolute value equations. I've gone over some simple ones. I've actually gone over ones with absolute values on both sides. And then I've also gone over some nested ones. So we've gone over a pretty good variation, but this one by far is probably the most complicated. And what's making it complicated is this minus 1 over here. So we're going to be going over how to tackle and solve this equation today. Now, essentially what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to split this equation up. And, with absolute values, typically we always split up into a negative and positive version. That's going to remain the case here, but there's going to be a little twist to it, and we're going to be going over that. So as a recap, remember, if you are given, say, the absolute value of x, you can actually split that up into like a piecewise function where you can say the absolute value of x is the equivalent of negative x where x is less than 0 and positive x where x is greater than or equal to 0. And the reason we say this is because, remember, we need to ensure that whenever we plug into x, we'll either spit out 0 or a positive. So we do say if x is less than 0, which means it's negative, we need to make sure that we multiply that by a negative to make sure it's positive. And then, if x is greater than or equal to 0, just spit out x as it is. So we're going to take this concept and we are going to be essentially splitting up our absolute values. We have two. We have the absolute value of 3x minus 2 and we have the absolute value of 5 minus x. We're going to be splitting those up into a negative and positive version. So let's start off with the absolute value of 3x minus 2. We can split that up where we'll have one version where we're going to negate the 3x minus 2, so it'll be a negative times the 3x minus 2, and the other version we'll just take it as it is, so we'll just split that as 3x minus 2. We can actually distribute the negative to the 3x minus 2 for the negative version. That'll just give us negative 3x plus 2, and then we'll be left with negative 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2 for the negative and positive version. Now, the next thing is we want to figure out the conditions or rules for this absolute value. And the easiest way I like to do that is to take what's inside the absolute value and set up inequalities. For the negative version, you're going to set up an inequality where you'll have 3x minus 2 less than 0. And then for the positive version, you'll basically do the same thing, but it'll be 3x minus 2 greater than or equal to 0. And you'll solve for x for both. For both of them, you'll add 2 on both sides and divide by 3. But for one inequality, we'll have x less than 2/3, and for the other one, you'll have x greater than or equal to 2/3. So we can split out 3x minus 2 to be equal to negative 3x plus 2, where x is less than 2/3, and 3x minus 2, where x is greater than or equal to 2/3. So we're going to do the same thing for the absolute value of 5 minus x. We're going to split that up where it'll become a negative times the 5 minus x, and then 5 minus x. And then we can distribute the negative to the 5 minus x. That'll give us negative 5 plus x. And then to figure out our conditions, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take what's inside the absolute value and set up as inequalities where for the negative version, we'll have 5 minus x less than 0. And then for the positive version, we'll have 5 minus x greater than or equal to 0. And for both of them, we can just add x on both sides, and we'll be left with 5 less than x. And to rewrite that, that's the same thing as saying x greater than 5. And then for the other one, we'll be left with 5 greater than or equal to x, which is the equivalent of saying x less than or equal to 5. So for the piecewise, the absolute value of 5 minus x is the equivalent of saying 5 minus x, where x is less than or equal to 5, and negative 5 plus x, where x is greater than 5. So now we've split up our absolute values, so that's the first step. And now the second step is creating what we call our cases. So we can say that based on our conditions, we have essentially two critical points. The critical points is where our turning point of our absolute value is. For the first one, we would say the critical point is actually at 2/3. So we're going to place that on a number line. And for the second absolute value, our critical point is at 5. And we're going to place that on the number line as well. And we're essentially going to have 3 case scenarios where we're going to have to test 3 intervals. Case 1 is going to be everything that's less than 2/3. case 2 is going to be everything that's between 2/3 and 5, and case 3 is going to be everything greater than 5. So looking at our equations and how we split them up, we would say that for case 1, the equations that we're actually going to be plugging in is going to be everything less than 2/3, which would be the negative 3x plus 2 and the 5 minus x, since it's saying x less than or equal to 5. That will be our case 1. Case 2 is going to be everything between 2/3 and 5. So in this case, we have where x is greater than 2/3, but still less than 5, which in this case would fall in the second equation for the first for the first absolute value, which is 3x minus 2, because it's saying x greater than or equal to 2/3. And then we would still use the first equation for the second absolute value, which is 5 minus x, since it's still x less than or equal to 5. And then for the final case, we're using the equations where x is greater than 5, which would be 3x minus 2 again, and then negative 5 plus x. And essentially, we're going to substitute these equations into our absolute value. This is how we'll break it up. So for the first case, we're going to replace the absolute value of 3x minus 2 with its negative component, and we're going to replace the absolute value of 5 minus x with its positive component, and that will become negative 3x plus 2 minus 1 equal to 5 minus x, and then we're just going to solve for x. So for both of these, we can do 2 minus 1 on the left side, which will just give us 1. So that'll give us negative 3x plus 1 equal to 5 minus x. And we can do a flip-flop on both sides, where we can basically add x on both sides and subtract 1. And then that would give us negative 2x equal to 4. And then we would divide by negative 2 on both sides, and we'll be left with x equal to negative 2. Now, this is our first solution, and the final thing we want to do for this is to check, does negative 2 fall in the interval of x being less than 2/3? And yes, in this case it does, because negative 2 is less than 2/3, so that works. That's perfect. So we're going to check our second case, which is to substitute our absolute values with 3x minus 2 and 5 minus x. So when we do that, that'll leave us with 3x minus 2 minus 1 equal to 5 minus x. So we'll combine the negative 2 and negative 1. That'll leave us with 3x minus 3 equal to 5 minus x. And once again, we'll do a flipperoo where we'll add 3 on both sides and add x, and that'll leave us with 4x equal to 8. And then we're going to divide by 4 on both sides, and we'll be left with x equal to 2. And once again, because case 2 is checking to see everything between 2/3 and 5, we want to make sure that our solution falls in that interval, and it does. 2 is greater than 2/3, and in this case less than or equal to 5, so that also works. And then lastly, for case 3, we are going to substitute our absolute values with 3x minus 2 and negative 5 plus x. So that'll give us 3x minus 2 minus 1 equal to negative 5 plus x. We can do negative 2 minus 1 once again. That'll give us 3x minus 3 equal to negative 5 plus x. And then we'll do a little flipperoo. We're going to add 3 on both sides, subtract x on both sides, and then that will leave us with 2x equal to negative 2. And then we're going to divide by 2 on both sides, and then that will leave us with x equal to negative 1. Now for this case, we need to make sure that x is greater than 5. But negative 1 is not greater than 5, so that actually will not work as a solution. So for our final solutions, we will see that we get negative 2 and 2 for our answers. And of course, it's always good to double check, so let's test out negative 2 to see if that works. If we plug it into our original equation, that'll give us the absolute value of 3 times negative 2 minus 1 equal to the absolute value of 5 minus the negative 2. And if we do 3 times negative 2, that is negative 6, and negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, so we have the absolute value of negative 8 minus 1, and then the absolute value of 5 minus a negative 2 is really 5 plus 2, so that'll give us the absolute value of 7. And then the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, and we'll be left with 8 minus 1 equals 7, and 8 minus 1 is 7, and 7 is equal to 7. So negative 2 does work. And lastly, let's plug in 2. So that'll give us the absolute value of 3 times 2 minus 1 equal to the absolute value of 5 minus 2. And when we clean that up, 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So we'll have the absolute value of 4 minus 1, and then 5 minus 2 is 3. So we'll be left with absolute value of 3. Absolute value of 4 is 4. So we'll be left with 4 minus 1, and the absolute value of 3 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 is equal to 3. So 2 works as well. So this confirms that -2 and 2 are the solutions to this absolute value equation. And there you have it.